Anyone need Wi-Fi?
Should take a picture. Go for one of the pictures also. You go. I'm sorry.
Must be the champagne. Or the seltzer water.
So everybody, this is my pleasant duty every time before demo day to get everybody seated or somehow just be quiet so we can start our presentation. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our moderator, Daphne.
Congratulations, Germany. The 2019 Bloomberg Innovation Index ranked you the world's second most innovative economy. Okay. Woo. And if you're here with us tonight, that means that you want a piece of the innovation action. So thanks kindly to Mindspace for hosting us here tonight. And if you'd like to inquire about office space opportunities and get to be neighbors of cool entrepreneurs like Ram and Maria, be sure to speak with Florian. Welcome to the 5th demo day of Accelerator Frankfurt. We've got an exciting evening planned for you, complete with a welcome from our hosts, a fireside chat with a very special guest, and five-minute pitches from Accelerator Frankfurt's current and previous wave fintech companies. Then we'll get to the real reason that we know that that's why you're here, the excellent food and the wine, and the opportunity for quality networking with fellow innovators. I'm Daphne Gold-Melchior, communications consultant and partner at Message Experts. Thrilled and privileged to be here with you tonight from Jerusalem, Israel, and watch out because we ranked 5th on the Bloomberg Index, where for the past 20 years I've been helping entrepreneurs and academic researchers and professionals of all fields sharpen their messages and deliver them more strategically to their audiences. My core messaging tip for you, which I've applied as an officer in the IDF, throughout my career, and even in parenting my 4 children, is to always start by asking yourself Seth Godin's key questions. Who is it for, and what is it for? And then customize accordingly. It's as effective as it is simple. Someone who knows precisely both who fintech innovation is for and what it's for was one of Israel's top surfers in the 90s. From his surfing career, he learned both the importance of surrounding oneself with passionate people and identifying how to be at the right place and at the right time. You know where I'm referring to. Pioneer of the startup scene in Frankfurt, founder of Accelerator Frankfurt, our very own Shoham. Surrounded, as we all are, by increasingly rapid-paced global disruption in consumer behavior and in fintech, so must financial institutions adapt by adopting innovation. And that's precisely why Ram founded Accelerator Frankfurt, the first business accelerator in the city, offering the added value that results from connecting leading B2B fintech companies with top financial institutions. Let's hear what current insights Ram has curated for us on the current state of fintech innovation. Ram, Shoham.
Twice in my life, I nearly drowned from surfing. And it taught me that experience counts. And this is what I want to tell you guys today. It's about experience. Let me start with telling you about the one time, the first time I nearly drowned while surfing. I've surfed thousands of waves in my life, and I'll never run out of surfing stories. So bear with me. I was 16, and basically we were looking at the weather forecast, me and my surfer buddies, and it was looking like there's going to be a very, very big storm hitting the coasts of Tel Aviv. And we were like, wow, this is really awesome. You know, we have to get the biggest wave we've ever ridden. So like we all did, we went early to sleep, and woke up before the sunrise at around 5 a.m., rushed to the beach, and basically there were people standing on the harbor looking at those monster waves. It's a bit still stuck in memory, because being the stupid boy I was, not experienced, full of adrenaline, me and my friend decided to put our wetsuits on and we jumped into the water and started paddling out. And people were like, what, crazy this? We were paddling and it took us forever. You need to get through the waves that are trying to crush on you. And as I was paddling behind my buddy, again, what's his name? A big wave approaches, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get past this before it crushes on me. I'm paddling hard, paddling, and it's a monster, it's a mountain, and I'm literally paddling up the wave. But my buddy is paddling down the wave and catching that wave. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing, and he's catching the wave, and I'm looking, he's down there like 6 meters below me, doing the bottom turn, and fantastic. I make it past the wave, and I'm alone there, and the next mountain arrives, and it's double the size of the previous mountain. And I wasn't positioned well, so that mountain's about to crush me. Shit, this is live stream, I can't say the F word. But I said the F word. And the only thing I could do is, okay, I need to get out of this in one piece. And the only thing that would float me back to the surface is my surfboard. So I grabbed my surfboard very tight and closed my eyes. I think it's the last thing I remembered. Sorry. I ended up in hospital, monitored for secondhand drowning, which means there's water in your lungs, and bad lung infection and so forth. But I made it alive. I'm here today. Now, I spent Christmas and New Year's in Israel, and it was the first 7 days in the last 3 years that I had a holiday without my phone. And I literally put, if some of you wrote me emails, my out of office was, I've replaced my phone with a 6'3" surfboard. Talks to you after New Year's. And I was praying that there would be waves so I can actually enjoy my holiday. And there were waves. I surfed quite a lot. And my flight back to Frankfurt was on 8th of January. And I look at the weather forecast. This is a screenshot from my mobile phone, 11:30 in the evening. Is there a date here? Yes, 7th of January, yeah. So this is actually 6th of January, at 3 a.m. it will be 7th of January, and this is the forecast. Same forecast as 28 years ago. 6.5 meter waves hitting the coast of Israel. So as you can see, Italy here, big storm arriving. This is black. Black on the scale, 6 to 7 meters. When waves like this break, by the way, they're not 6 to 7 meters because the wave actually lifts up, becomes a 10-meter drop, and it also sucks water down, becomes a 12-meter drop, just for your information. And this scale, basically, it starts with 4 green surfboards, then it turns to yellow surfboards, and it's already on the 3rd red surfboard. I mean, this rarely happens. So I'm looking at the weather forecast, still very strong winds expected at 3 a.m. And I continue zapping, and I see 6 a.m. the wind dies. Wind actually destroys the waves. You need to surf without wind, but you still need the waves to be there. So 11:30, I tell my wife that I'm going to bed now. I'm going to be at 6 a.m. in the water. 9 a.m. I'm back for breakfast. Because I need to catch that small window of opportunity when the wind drops to catch these big waves. This is 28 years later, okay? I'm experienced. I've surfed big waves. I love surfing big waves. This is what I do on my holidays. But this was the same place, the same type of storm that nearly took my life away at the age of 16. So I go to the water at 6 a.m. and obviously at the age of 44 I can't paddle the way I used to paddle when I was young. So it took me forever to get in out of breath, 20 minutes basically. Then I finally positioned myself. There were 3 other surfers in the water. Beautiful sunny day, wind died, and I catch waves. The only problem is I don't catch as many as I would like to because of my condition. So I catch one big wave and paddle another 20 minutes back, another big wave. So by 1 hour, I caught maybe 4 or 5 waves. And at the end, I end up alone again inside. And a rouge wave out of nowhere, it happens, comes again towards me, big flashback. So one of the biggest waves of the day, and I'm not in position. And it starts breaking, and I see, okay, here we go again. This time, I actually, every Sunday here in the area of Frankfurt, I practice free diving, which is apnea diving, and I can hold my breath up to 4 minutes when my heart is below 50 beats a minute, okay? So I'm much better in that. But this time I just throw my surfboard away, and I dive as deep as I can so it doesn't crush me terribly. And I'm all over, blah, 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 it's totally dark and this. Then it slows down and I'm fully relaxed. I'm experienced. When we mature, we know ourselves, we know our brains, we know how to stay relaxed. And I know to keep air in my lungs and not blow it out like I did 28 years ago, you know, keep it relaxed. Looked for my leash is actually attached to the surfboard, and I start pulling up. And before I get up, I don't manage to get a second breath, another wave crashes. So again, boo, 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 you know. This whole thing lasted about, I would say 30 seconds, more or less, but 30 seconds with your heart pumping, and after paddling, it's not an easy thing, and rolling around. But what I'm trying to say is that 28 years ago, I ended in hospital fighting for my life. And this time, I actually got home an hour late, and my wife nearly killed me because she thought I drowned. So experience really counts in everything we do. It was a fantastic day. It was the last day I had, and I came back to Frankfurt, and I love telling this story because it's only later where you start understanding and digesting what happened. And basically, nothing critical happened. I looked back at it, I was totally in control and relaxed. Talking about experience, it's related to what we do in Accelerator Frankfurt as well. We started very young. People actually didn't believe that we would achieve what we were achieving. And we're following basically the flow and the trends through experience. One trend I want to talk to you about, it's for 2019. We cannot ignore blockchain technology. I've been I've been in finance for 20 years, particularly fintech for the last 10. And obviously, people have been telling me you should do something with blockchain already since 2016. But we're starting to see now that a lot of the hype is starting to clean up. There's some good projects there that are quite well financed, and they've developed amazing technologies. But they miss the crucial point of marketing these technologies and building a viable business model that actually makes money. And this is what we do. This is why our next wave will be blockchain wave. We are starting the Frankfurt Blockchain Hub, and we have been scanning already since September blockchain projects that are worthy of being accepted to this blockchain hub. In addition, we are raising a blockchain fund, which will invest like a VC into these technologies and into these companies. We want to create a win-win-win situation, which means that organizations that want to stay ahead and work with this innovative technology will get it. The startups will also get the partners they need to actually materialize these technologies. And at the end of the day, the people that invested in them against the fund will also get the results. And basically, this is what I mean by the win-win-win. So that's the blockchain part. There's a picture on Facebook of the day of 7th of January, by the way, of a friend of mine. He's a photographer. So this is a day in the morning. Pretty nice waves out there. I wanna thank everybody that's made this possible, and of course it's our strategic partners first and foremost. We've learned from experience to work with the most experienced people in the industry. And we have Die Firma, which are a digital marketing firm based in Wiesbaden. And they celebrated last year their 20th year anniversary. They know what they're doing, and they're reshaping the message of our startups to the German market. Because what you will see also here today, it's a lot about the messaging. We don't need to start getting into the technical details. If you're interested in the technical details, get a meeting with one of the startups that are presenting today. This is the idea. The idea now is to keep you all engaged and interested. Secondly, obviously, all the startups, especially in the fintech and cybersecurity, they need the legal support. And we're working with Taylor Wessing already over a year. Very great support from the lawyers, and not only their support, but also their contacts and their network, which is really worthy of having them as a strategic partner. And there's Define. It's here, back here, there. Define, they're a technology company. They're working with the startups in integration projects. And what I really love about them is that they're extremely strong in the blockchain part. And this will be a huge addition to the blockchain hub. Last but not least, obviously, we started off with our partner Accelerator in Israel, A2B. And they're here today as well, so thank you for coming, guys. And they're one of the leading accelerators in Israel. They have an extremely high track record. And they've helped us from day, not zero, from day minus 360. So really a year before we launched, they were working with us and helping us to select the mentors, to put the program in progress and everything. So thank you to our strategic partners for your great support. I want to give them a big round of applause, please. The second thing that makes this program what it is are the mentors, are the excellent mentors, experienced people, well-connected people, people that have been serial entrepreneurs and are helping our startups really advance in their fields of expertise. You will hear in the Fireside chat, actually, one of the mentors, Steffen, who will be speaking later. Last but not least, this event would not be possible without the sponsorship of probably the most experienced of all of us. I mean, this is Metzler I'm talking about. They're over 300 years old bank with massive amount of experience, and the most amazing thing is that it stayed with the same ownership for all these 300 and plus years, if I'm correct, right? And that's not, you don't see that every day. Now, it's not only one of the oldest banks in the world and very experienced, they're also very innovative. And the reason I'm talking about this is not just because they made this event possible. They are open to work with our startups. They're open to listen to new technologies and innovate and stay ahead and not be lagging behind like some other banks probably would need to take that as an example and learn from it. So to Metzler, I really want to thank you very much for sponsoring this event. I want to wish you a great evening today. Enjoy the pitches, enjoy the food, have great conversations. If you need any meeting rooms afterwards, please come to me or Maria, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. So, she's ranked #1 fintech influencer in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. She's among the 50 most influential women in startups in the EU. She's co-founder of Accelerator Frankfurt and CEO of Sentiment Deutschland. And she also loves extreme sports, in particular free diving, in which she's been known to spend over 4 minutes underwater. The one and only Maria Pennanen.
Thank you very much. And of course, this Fireside chat could not be possible without the wonderful Steffen Seeger, who has agreed to join me on stage. Thank you very much. Fireside. We don't have any fireside, but please don't put any fire on. We'll take it not literal tonight. But I think it's wonderful to have Steffen here. I mean, as Ram told you, that he is mentoring the Accelerator Frankfurt program, which is, I think, many of the startups who have worked with you really appreciate. I mean, you did sorry for that. Steffen had a wonderful career, 20 years working for big consulting companies, and I always wondered, what is it that makes people do these crazy things? I mean, of course, I'm crazy myself, but other people, that they decide to become entrepreneurs. And I think that was one of the things that we discussed with Steffen before he agreed to do this talk. So, what would you say? What was the thing that made you do this crazily?
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me. I'm not exactly sure why I'm special, but so let's try to find out. Thanks for congratulations to this event. It's great to be a mentor of Accelerator and the quality of startups you bring together. I have to apologize to some of the startups for not being extremely fast in responding. Is one of the facts, because I still have to earn money. So coming back to your question, after 22 years with KPMG and later on Bearing Point, I decided to establish a bank. This was 2006 when we initially had the plan. In 2009, so 3 years later, we founded Fidor Bank, which was Europe's first digital bank. And clearly it was a crazy idea. Your surf stories remind me a little bit on how it is to found a bank. It's certainly a roller coaster ride. But clearly my career at KPMG, Bearing Point, sort of came to an end. I was the head of Europe, the European operations, and next step I would have been CEO, which in an American company is like when you're Catholic and say, okay, now let's become Pope. So this was not extremely likely. So I looked for something new, and the chance to establish a digital financial services player was extremely appealing.
It was a thing you couldn't resist.
Absolutely.
I guess, and we have
like being mentor of Accelerator.
Oh, we are very honored. But I think we had this discussion with Steffen, and thinking about what is it that makes people, do these kind of crazy leaps and makes them do stuff that they maybe didn't think that they would do, or let's say at least a closest family never thought they would do. And we discussed it, and some of it is also like, what is it that makes you being, so courageous. Having the courage actually to take this thing and not being afraid to fail. And I think this was something that we also touched upon a little bit with you, that and you mentioned that you had such a great career already. So you said, what the hell, that's my second career.
Yeah. Well, in my case, courage is a bit relative, because even a failure would not have meant that I end up totally poor. Because I had the privilege to have a good career in the corporate world, and to have the chance to start up a new venture. Clearly, the difference is that with a big corporate, you always have a safety net. So you think strategy, you think P&L, you think politics, well, especially politics, and this is great fun. I mean, when you have some success, and it's a great fun time. I had at Daring Point, before they went into Chapter 11, I had a COO who he had to run the entire worldwide operations, and he didn't have a passport. So he was sitting in the US and was in charge. And the second thing was that we spoke about Europe, because I was in charge of Europe, and he said, well, you have this country, the Nordics. So we had to explain something for you. That Finland,
I come from the Nordics, it has actually several countries.
That Finland is not equal to Denmark, and we might have different characteristics and so on. And within the startup situation, what is quite different is that you not only have to think P&L, but you have to think liquidity. And I think it was 2008 when at Fidor we knew exactly we now have 4 weeks, not more, to find a new investor. And if that time is over without a new investor, I wouldn't sit here as a special person.
So it's about, it's about motivation, and I think it's about that we many times say that you cannot really, you can't fake this kind of being under pressure. I think the French say something that nothing sharpens the mind like the guillotine. So I guess in this situation,
we get to the French later.
Yes, we'll get to the French and maybe the guillotine. No, hopefully not. No, but I think it's always like this. We say, whatever the motivator is for a person to start, their company or become an entrepreneur, whether it's that they are, what is the reason that they don't fear failing? Maybe they don't fear anything, but it's also like maybe they have something that they think, something that pushes them absolutely to do this, and that's something that everybody needs to find inside of them, what it is, before they decide to do it. But that, I think, was a great inspiration. Well, I think here in our audience, we of course have people who are entrepreneurs. I think many of you are, or investors, but also many people who work for corporates. And I was always wondering that there's always the surprises. Everyone who's an entrepreneur knows what are the big and bad surprises, so to say. So what would you say? What were there any for you, like the big, good or bad surprises that you never thought about before you became an entrepreneur?
Well, the bad surprise was that with KPMG Bearing Point, I had, I think it was 3 or 4 people exclusively working for me, which was great. You had an assistant, you had a secretary, and you had a driver. Especially my wife loved the driver part. Now at Fidor, we were 4 founders, and we had 1 office manager, and she believed that we were working for her.
Yeah.
So, luckily, she found me an apartment in Munich. So this was one of the. And there are many, as I said earlier. In a startup mode, you can certainly testify that you're in extremely direct touch with your success or failure. And it's nearly every day you see, well, is that thing moving good or well? So as I said earlier, no safety net. Either cash is king for in many cases, and either you succeed or you fail. It's direct. I mean, if in a big corporation you fail, well, some other executives might succeed, and the world is fine.
Yeah. So I think it's sometimes when people glorify the career of being an entrepreneur, it might be good to think twice about what one is willing to do or not. As I say, there's very direct correlation. If you can't make money, you'll die, unfortunately. But I think let's now go more into the topic of you being, you were the co-founder of Fidor Bank, and you really had like the front seat of seeing how the banks digitalize, or let's say how they don't digitalize. But you know, you guys, you were in the front row. You're the first German digital bank. So what would say what enabled that you know that it happened? That all these banks that we talked today, N26 and the others that came after you guys. What made that possible?
Yeah, but they were more successful. So, which tells us timing is important. Clearly, we were the first when we said, okay, let's found a bank. Everybody, I mean, my friends, my family, everybody said, you're totally nuts. This is post-financial crisis, 2007, 2008. Germany needs certainly many things, but not another bank. And our argument was, and at that time nobody spoke of digital bank. People talked about Web 2.0 bank, if you remember. Later community banking and so on, and this developed into what is now digital banking. Our argument, and this was the second bank which we founded together, because the team which I joined, they founded Direktanlagebank, DAB, which was sold a couple of years ago to the French. And also at DAB, what we saw with Fidor was that there is a fundamental change in the customer demands, in customer behavior, basically. So this comes together with the development of millennials, of digital natives, internet visitors, and so on. There were sort of three fundamental changes where we saw banks not really responding too well. The three fundamental things, if you look at digital, is it's everywhere, anytime, and me. So everywhere, anytime is clear. This goes very much in favor of, for instance, smartphone banking and so on. And me means it is about my personal requirements. It's about what do I want from a financial services provider. And banks today, hopefully I do not get too much controversial arguments here. Banks still today, but especially in 2007, 2008, they were producers of products. And when you think about financial services, we looked at it very much as a kind of derivative product. So it's not the primary focus. Let's have an example. If the weather is good tomorrow, we wake up and say, okay, our first thought is not, hey, weather is good, let's get a loan. This is not natural behavior. There might be some people in the audience who think that way, but it's not natural. You would say, okay, weather is good, so let's extend our vacation. Yeah? Let's go surfing. And then you break your surfboard or so. And then you need a loan. This is financial services. So financial services has to kind of link the service of the bank to the individual circumstances, to the individual requirements of customers. And this is where digital comes into play.
I guess it's like what we all say always to the startups, that if there is no problem that you're solving, then you shouldn't exist. And I think, well, I'm sure banks have other things that they fulfill, but let's say from the digital point of view,
customer requirements.
Yes, customer requirements does not seem to be one of the things I think we probably all agree. But I think what you did unique thing, and I think what we always try to also emphasize, that there's a very important role of collaborating. And I think many times we just think it's the banks collaborating with the startups, but actually what you guys did, you realized that you actually can collaborate with other fintechs.
Yeah. I mean, clearly what happened was that we were quite innovative, yes. We established a bank, attracted about 300,000 users in our community, won the first 100,000 customers fairly easily. Now it's around 250,000 customers, 40,000 SMEs. So it was nice, but not great. We did not make any money with our B2C banking business. This was sort of a little bit disappointing. So someday, I think it was 2012, we said, okay, but maybe someone also thinks digital in the kind of old world, and we can offer our service as a banking as a service solution to existing banks or other players. So you probably know that Fidor is powering O2 banking. That's the banking app of Telefonica in Germany. So when you look at how we partner in the B2C world, we partner with nearly everybody who has a good offering in fintech world. In B2B, which is the solutions part, we partnered with the incumbents, with the kind of old school players, and with followers.
Yeah. So I guess the cooperation was easier with one of those parties. But let's say go back to the French. That's what we started with. So then 2016 happened, and the Fidor was then bought by this French bank BPCA. I guess the other
BBC.
BBC. How to pronounce
Yeah,
it?
nobody
Yeah.
can.
Okay. Anyway, the French
No,
bank.
I tend to forget it.
Yeah, okay. So sometimes some things are maybe better to be forgotten. But anyway, let's now talk about the learnings from this whole experience. And because I can imagine that there were some expectations. I think, like you said in the beginning, that when we talk about the digital banks of today, we all know N26, we all know, you know, the Sterling and other banks. And I mean, N26 is valued 2.7 billion. It raised 300 million in January this year.
This terrible sound in my ears.
Oh, yeah. And the clink for the money or the microphone? No, but I think this is like, then sometimes you think, why didn't it happen to Fidor Bank? I mean, it's like...
That's why I have this sound in my ear.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm trying to hear what it says, the sound in your ear.
Well,
But what was the expectations for you? Because I'm sure that you had certain kind of expectations for it to happen.
Well, the easiest answer, and I don't know how much time we have, the easiest answer is sort of, we were young and needed the money. We were not exactly young, but we needed the money, and we needed capital, and those who work in banks or know banks know exactly that capital is kind of the driving force for expansion, especially when you have a digital loan book also, so we need that. We saw the N26, at that time they were still called number 26. We saw them kind of approaching and overtaking in terms of number of customers, cooler app, more better integration of card and app and these features. So we saw that and said, well, how can we respond? Okay, we need a strategic partner. And BPCE, second largest banking group in France, 30 million customers, 7,800 branches, 106,000 employees. Nice partner. No digital idea, no clue how to do digital. And their CEO and chairman, at that time, who was instrumental in doing the deal, he said, well, and he spoke to his top 400 executives and said, well, Fidor is the driver of our digital strategy. And next year, this was 2007 then, next year Fidor will be in France all over the internet. Okay? Sounds good.
So what happened? I mean, like
because I went from my KPMG bearing point experience, I had one sort of fundamental belief that I never wanted to work again in a big corporate. And especially, I never wanted to work in a French corporate or in a Japanese corporate. I've seen the Americans live with that. I had some experience with French. I had some experience with Japanese clients and also partners. I told them very early in the process, do not count on me, which was quite natural because I was the chief risk officer and the chief financial officer. And I mean, when you acquire a new company, immediately you want to put in your CFO, your chief risk officer. So I was out. So from what I learned later, the French simply did not do anything with Fidor. There's a very good analysis by a pretty well-known blogger, Chris Skinner. He published that in November last year. It's called Clash of Clans. And this summarizes it very well, because what we didn't know, and what my kind of successors then learned, was that BPCE is, they consider themselves as one big bank, but in reality, it's like the German Sparkassen or Volksbank. It's an amalgamation of small, local, old school banks. And they hated the idea of an internet bank. This was totally.
So you were like doomed from the beginning.
We were not on their list of favorite suites. So definitely. And then the two of the C-level guys who were this sort of when you look at it, it's kind of a Netflix serial. The two of the C-level guys who did our deal, they started a love affair, which they did pretty publicly. So all the local bankers they published that and threw dirt at the two guys. One had to leave. So yeah, we were not. It wasn't a happy
Not
journey.
a happy marriage,
No, it was not a happy journey.
Yeah, I think well, I guess the learnings we could take from this one is that if you have the luxury, you should choose your partner very wisely. But of course, unfortunately, I think most of the time you don't have the luxury. Just take the money and you hope for the best. That's the learning.
Take money and run.
Yeah, take the money around here. Okay, no, let's say hopefully there is a better option, but as we say, sometimes we don't have one, and then you need to live with it. What you have.
What I hear, maybe this is an opportunity for some of you. What I hear is that they're up for sales
Exactly.
again. So you go on with digital bank and they're less expensive than N26.
So anyone big banks, if you have a strategy meeting next week, you can pick it in, and maybe Stefan can consult you about that.
I can facilitate.
Sparse aside, as you say. No, but I think So then you think, what could be the reasons? Like why don't the big traditional banks then digitalize? I think we have had this discussion many times. What are the reasons? Sometimes don't they, like you say, sometimes they don't want to digitalize. Maybe sometimes they don't need to. The cash is money is still coming in.
I'm not exactly sure. If you had asked me the question 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said, well, different culture, and all that. But what I see right now is that in all major banks, you have really good programs to digitize parts of the business, and you have a number of corporations with fintechs, with new players. So I'm not sure. I think clearly what is a big hurdle is the legacy of old systems. What also is a big hurdle, and we have so many bankers here, they probably can answer the question much better. What also is a hurdle is the regulation, which clearly demands all forces, risk management, compliance, all the new directives. And then you only have a certain amount of money. So you have to bear in mind, for instance, when you look at Deutsche Bank, every investment they're not highly profitable, they're not growing. So every investment in digital has to come from some sort of cost saving. And now, this clearly limits, when you also bear in mind that they have to invest in new regulatory requirements, this clearly limits the amount. So it's no longer a mindset question. It's clearly, we'll see, maybe this is good news for those who focus on B2B. We will see more and more corporations between banks and fintechs.
Yes, I guess the good thing is, and I see it very similarly because we clearly work with a lot of startups and a lot of banks, and I think it's also like a person related. I mean, if you find a person from a bank who's willing to put their neck on the line, which you don't have many, but there's luckily normally always a couple of them in each bank. So you need to just identify those people and work with them and try to help them to to bring the solution and to paint a nice picture for their colleagues so that they also to work together.
I would add that you have to be patient, and you have to be what's the English word? Frustration resistant, frustrationstolerant in German. Because clearly what you always have to bear in mind when you're in the B2B space in financial services is that for each innovation which you try to put into a bank, your counterpart has to change not only his way of doing business, but also the way how many people around him do business. And this is often in a digital plus the private equity fund which I support. We invest in B2B fintech, and what our investments often underestimate, or our targets often underestimate, is the amount of time the amount of intelligent documentation it takes to get into these banks.
So I guess as a conclusion, I could say that to become successful as an entrepreneur or have a successful cooperation with fintechs, you need to have a lot of courage, I would say, on both sides. You need to have perseverance. You need to have patience to wait for the news to come, and also, you know, you need to be creative maybe sometimes in ways how you can approach those banks. So I think
Perfect summary.
Yeah, and yeah, you need to be a little lucky, you know. I would say that. Let's not forget that. But so. Absolutely, Steffen, very, very many thanks for being here tonight, and let's give a big hand for him for being
Thanks, Maria, and thanks, Steffen. And if you loved hearing Maria, and you know you loved hearing Maria, then if you tweet, and if you guys noticed that the hashtag for Demo Day FFM, okay, the best tweet will get you an entry ticket to WeTech next week in Berlin, where you can hear Maria giving the keynote. Okay, so you can really clear the tweet. Okay, so if our panelists want to start moving in this direction. During its first 5 waves, Accelerator Frankfurt program has been home to 30 companies, which have raised over 40 million euro in investments and benefited from the expertise of top mentors, themselves leaders in the industry. Now it's time for a taste of the fruits of these efforts. Here's how our demo day pitches are going to work. Each company will pitch for precisely 5 minutes, followed by 3 minutes of clarification Q&A by our investor panel. And we're going to stick with the 5 minutes, guys, because we're the only thing coming between these lovely people and their food and wine. Okay, so we're serious about the 5 minutes business. Okay, we'll all have plenty of opportunity to get to know these companies better over aforementioned drinks at the networking. So let's get to know our panel. So could each of you please introduce yourselves and tell us one most important thing that we need to know about you.
Hello everybody, my name is Michael. I'm the founder and director of A2B Startup Accelerator in Jerusalem. Privileged to be a partner of Accelerator Frankfurt from the very beginning and representing a VC called Untitled Capital. We invested in 24 companies so far, 20 of them alive and kicking. Good luck everybody.
Hi everybody, my name is Andrew Groom. I'm the head of a private family office investment vehicle called GFIT Ventures. We're based here in Frankfurt and in London. My background is international real estate, so we have a portfolio of real estate and commodities. We have some ordinary stocks and shares, and we have 2 new parts of the venture vehicle, which are startups, and we're working with Ram on some of the startups and do some mentoring with him on the accelerator in Frankfurt, and also a new crypto fund, which has done reasonably well under the circumstances.
Hi, my name is Eckhard Ortwein. I did 2 startups. The first one was a mobile payments company 20 years ago, funded by Deutsche Bank. We sold it 10 years ago to Sybase and SAP. The one thing you don't want to remember about me, I got so sick about mobile payments, and I'm still so sick about mobile payments, that we turned away seed investment in end 26. Aside that, I'm working as an M&A advisor with Brian Garnier, and my new startup is a company called Lean Case, which helps investors to validate the business cases of the companies they want to invest in, and who helps on the startup side to create a business case that is a believable and logical and explicable case, and not another graveyard of Excel data. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you to our panel. Now you know that the ones that you really want to meet are the current round accelerator wave companies. So let's start to meet them. So, he was born to entrepreneur parents, so it's probably genetic in his case. He served in the Finnish army together with his co-founder, and he believes that if you think it, you can do it. From Finland, here's Tero of Bankify.
I go straight to the point. Over 2 out of 3 of the millennials are saying
that they don't care what the banks are saying. Think a little bit the figure, 2 out of 3. And what's the effect? Banks are losing customers. And just an example of the digital banks, for example, N26 and Revolut together, they are like gaining approximately 10,000 users per day. So that's why we actually founded Bankify, and I'm Tero Lappalainen, I'm the co-founder of Bankify. And what we do, we want to give the millennials actually what they want from digital banking. And I will concentrate in our solution 3 points. It will be what the millennials actually want and how the banking partners can benefit out of these services and how you can actually cooperate with us. But firstly, I want to say a few words about our team and why it's so excellent working with this kind of services. So we basically have the best sides of the both worlds when it comes to millennials and the banking experts. We have in our core team 15 talented tech persons that are truly know the millennial sector, and in addition to that, we have in our advisory board over 100 years of experience from banking. Well, what are actually the services what we provide to the millennials? We have validated over 20,000 users live, and from those we can clearly see 3 big elements what they are expecting. They are expecting the services to be personalized. They are expecting the services to be educated, they will learn, and there is the social sharing elements like in any other services that they are using. And I don't go through all of them, but we have developed 8 different kind of microservices, but I will give you a hint of one use case what we are developing with one of our clients. So, automated savings. Imagine that you are in pizzeria making the purchase, and you will have this kind of rule in a bank that when you do the purchase, there is some kind of rounding to the nearest euro, which will put that rounding to your savings account. Pretty boring, yeah? But what we can actually do about it is that we can personalize the message based on the user behavior, and actually we can give a hint that there's actually somebody else doing that same kind of things also, which is more likely that they will get to their goal and get to the Barcelona, and at the same time banks can do the business. And now we know what the user actually wants, but what is this for the banks? And this is what we have calculated with one of our customers, which have over 5 million users. So actually, there was discussion before that can we make a business? So there's actually new revenue opportunity over 47 million when it comes to new user acquisition and this kind of beyond banking services that banks can provide. And of course, when they retain their users, there's a high potential they can make money out of it on the long run. And when there are happy customers in the banks, they are more likely to be referrals, and they bring more users and transactions to the bank. So there's a clear business case, but how you can actually buy the services? So there's 2 options. There's the white label model, and then it's the integrated API model. And like you see, it's a pretty nice, cool stuff that you can get from a working products. And it's actually pretty flexible. It's a fast and simple process, 2 months to get it live and kicking as a commercial model with the bank. Yes, but how can you actually know that it actually works? We have already customers that we are working on. These are live numbers, and actually if you look at the German markets, we have here over 15 million millennials, and if you count also the younger generation, it's actually over 20 million. And we are really happy that we can be part of this Accelerator Frankfurt. It has given us the opportunity to discuss many of the partners. And do you want those millennials to be attractive to your banking platforms? Please come to talk with us after this event.
Panel, they're yours.
So you mentioned the revenue model and some of the numbers. Can you elaborate a little bit about it?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's really the exciting part where we also see the opportunity to help the banking partners on gaining revenues out of really highly competitive markets. So there was two components in it. We have counted with our existing customer, and that was the new user acquisition, basically generating then the additional incomes. And we also have a track record of acquiring those new users with help of these functionality and services very cost efficiently. So that's the one part of the revenue stream. Second is very innovative beyond banking, and where we actually help our banking partners also to use the data, commercialize the data. I mean, it's already there, and combine it with the third-party offering, and that will generate additional revenue.
I've got a question about, can you just say how long you've been up and running?
Yeah, company was founded 2016 summer, and we have been doing thorough development of the products. Now we are 2.5 years old company.
And what can you, okay, so I'll take that one. So 2016 you started up and you launched Bankify as a product.
Yeah, yes, we have actually done a couple of applications also. So the first one was launched 2017, and then the second 2018 called Linky app. It's still there in free markets. And the microservices, you saw the B2B concept was developed since last summer and launched in December at Slascom.
Okay, and to go on for that then, so what's been the take-up per month of users of the app, and what's your business plan for take-up by the end of this year?
Yeah, the app use case is more white label basis, what we now apply for the B2B partners. So in that way, we don't invest ourselves directly to the marketing or user acquisition, but we are willing to do that together with the partners, very cost efficiently as mentioned. So there's a high opportunity in that way. Basically in any market, we can customize it. Or in the B2B model, as we also now offer the microservices, we have very good customer pipeline, or you could say customer discussions going on also here in Germany, where we are very happy to enter, but also in Nordics, where it's our home market, but then also talking to international players in Europe, also in Asia and North America. So that's our aim now for later this year.
Thank you, Antti and Tero. Thank you. Something tells me people are really going to want to come talk to you guys during the networking, right? Okay, all right. So, he's written a book. He's written a book called The 7 Principles of Self-Motivation. And he invites us all to remember that the light at the end of the tunnel is not an oncoming train, but rather an exciting opportunity. From Sweden, here's Patrick with Cover.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'll sort of wanted to start by sharing a little story of what actually this company is all about. So I was 3 years ago ordering a ticket for my family going to Hawaii, and I did this on my personal visa. So we were all excited, and we were the 4 of us going over, very happy in Hawaii. I've always been dreaming going to Hawaii. And then the day before leaving, the bank calls me. This is Swedish, the Scandinavian Enskilda Bank, SEB. He calls me and tells me, I just want to check with you. Do did you purchase electronics worth of 1,000 euro? And I said, no, why would I do that? Well, the thing is that someone's been purchasing on your card, so unfortunately we have to cancel your card. I said, well, I'm leaving for Hawaii tomorrow, so you can't cancel my card, because the booking is done on the card, the hotel, the trips, everything. You cannot cancel my card. Well, I'm sorry, it's corporate policy, so we are canceling your card. I just want to let you know. So I was fuming, and obviously this is not a happy moment. We got it resolved. I have a wife that has a credit card, so we were actually solving it that way. But it's not a fun moment. And as we're looking at this slide here, this actually shows live hacking on transactions globally. It's massive and it's increasing, and we were shocked when we were actually visualizing this. This is the amount of stuff happening in the cybersecurity world, and it's not fun. We can't see that. Hawaii is probably on that map as well. So the internet originally was created for communication. And mind you, it was not created for actually financial transactions. But today's robbers, they don't use machine guns and hand grenades and all that stuff. They use the internet. They're pretty smart, and they're growing by the dozens as millennials are getting out there in the market. So, what does Cover do? Well, we are basically using a security solution that is super user-friendly. We need to make it user-friendly, otherwise the millennials will walk away. I have several kids. They don't have a banker. They all are mobile. So we know we need to use a mobile solution and connect it with the different banks out there. So what happens here is that we have a very simple API. It's a software, and we connect it to the bank. It could be the teller or whatever the bank has. And then the customer needs to download an application. So we have a mobile app. You download it on Android or the iOS. And then we connect those two things. So everything going through, whatever that transaction is, needs to be confirmed with either an approve or deny by the actual user of that credential, that card or that money. So it's a super user-friendly and at the same time very secure. So the typical case that we end up seeing having a lot of threats and sort of hacking is the e-commerce. So someone is sitting on their computer, for example, ordering a trip to Hawaii, and they are booking everything looks fine, and then you need to make sure it's actually you. So you can confirm that I'm the one booking the trip. So in the case of me booking that trip, the bank wouldn't have need to call me if I'm buying electronics for 1,000 euro. I would have get a message in my phone asking me, are you the one buying this electronics? And I would deny it. That was simple as that. I could have kept my card. I didn't have to rely on my wife's credit card, even though she was happy that she could use it. But this would be a very simple solution for my situation at that time. So this is what Cover is doing. So the fantastic thing is that this guy happened to stand in the back of the room here. Some people might recognize him. He doesn't have so much hair, but he's in the middle here, Peter Alexandersson. He was the one who created the Scandinavian banking security system. This is a system used by every single bank in Sweden. So 95% of the Swedes are very happy because it's such a swift solution. And he was awarded #1 engineer in the world many years ago though, getting older and getting wiser. But this is the background of the company. And when I joined 4 years ago, I knew that guy, he made it before, and with his sort of, if I say cave skill from programming and all that, I added my business skill to that piece. So we put together I would say, a fantastic team. And as you can see, I have a couple of gray hairs on my hair, on my head. And we added a lot of experience because I was listening to Steffen here, and I can totally agree. The maturity of knowing you need patience, even though I'm an impatient guy, is sometimes, I'm tearing my hair apart because things are so slow, especially in the banking sector. But you also need perseverance. So as we move along, we know that things will come. We cannot just give up. We need to keep going. And we added some quite fantastic people. We have Victor in the background here as well. So I would say the maturity of the team is there. We know what it takes, And I think we're all up to it. And of course, how do we know it's going to be working? Well, the company is 4 years old. We already raised €5 million in total. And we have 5 paying banking customers. So we're working with banks in Czech Republic, working with banks in Dubai, over in Asia. So we have a banks in Thailand. We're also working with Visa. So we have a relationship started. There's a lot of activity going on in Asia Pacific. And of course, there's quite a few POCs that will convert into opportunities. And I have to say to Maria and Ram, they are a fantastic team, facilitating a lot of opportunities. Coming down to Germany, we met quite a few interesting players down here, and we're really thankful that you invite us to this thing. So I would say, are you, as a banker, are you covered? Are you ready? So, please come for that.
So this is basically about mobile authentication, correct? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. In order to, how do you make sure that mobile authentication can all easily be considered as a feature, right? As a feature of a bigger solution, as a feature of a bank. How do you make sure that this is not only a feature but a solution, and perceived as a solution and bought as a solution?
Well, I think that as banks mature in looking at what out there in the market, I know there's a lot of token solutions, there's a lot of SMS solutions. What we do know is that they are all hackable. We know how to hack them, and what we provide is I would say, almost bulletproof solution. It cannot be hacked. And as you go deeper into looking at that solution, it's not just a feature, it's a security solution. We have made it user-friendly, so we made the combination of those two.
Can you also authenticate mobile transactions itself?
Yes.
Okay, not only PC to or web to mobile, but
Exactly.
mobile to mobile.
Mobile to mobile, yes.
I think it's a great solution. It sounds fantastic because I've had people buy garden furniture in Brazil on my credit card. So I'm not planning to move there, but I've had a very similar circumstances. Can you just explain from the business plan how you monetize cover, how that works going forward, and how many clicks do you need, as it were, or confirmations, authentication do you need to get into the black and then drive that forward?
Yeah, so basically we have a very simple model. We go very pragmatic, so if the bank would like to use a subscription model, we use that, so they pay due to how many customers is on the system. So that could be a monthly, quarterly, yearly. We can have what you say per click, so every time someone is using the service, there is a small fee. Or we can have a license fee that can be like for a whole year, and then an unlimited amount of usage depending on how the bank wants to use it. So those are basically the 3 models we have.
Happy birthday, Peter. So those of you that are going to go over and find him, right, you can sing him. You can sing him in whatever language you like. Okay. So our next presenter deeply believes in the importance of experience. We got a theme going here, right? So he only hires senior professionals. And after hours, you'll find him giving salsa dancing lessons. From Belgium, here's Hedrick of Invest Suite.
Hello everyone, I'm Hedrick. I'm truly passionate about investments and banking, believe it or not. I've been active in this industry for, I think, almost 18 years. I also have my colleague Yuri here sitting at the front. But instead of talking about me and my career, I want to talk about this woman who I truly think we should serve better as an industry. And meet Laura. Laura is a successful entrepreneur, an accountant. She has 50K on her savings account. She has a very demanding husband, which she loves. She has 2 kids, but she has 50,000 euros on the savings account. She wants to do something useful with that money. Unfortunately, she's not an expert in investment. Unfortunately, she cannot buy a house for 50,000 euros. And if she walks up to a private bank, she would love to have personalized advice telling her how to protect her investments and how to keep those people happy in her life. But they won't give her advice. bottom line, it's too expensive to give Laura truly personalized advice. It's really difficult. But she wants that, and that's where we come in. That's what InvestMeet wants to do. We want to give Laura truly personalized advice, but we want to do it in a B2B fashion. We're not a B2C player. We don't believe in B2C advisory. We think it's all about B2B. We have a model where we want to serve Laura, and we try to transfer CapEx to OpEx. So if you look at the market, we see two problems. We see a huge amount of money on the savings account, huge, and banks like to transform this money somewhat into investment. On the other hand, a lot of VC money went into robo-advisory. There are about 100 in Europe. Most of them are B2C. And if you look at the total assets under management of this incredibly exciting new wave of how to manage wealth, we see that they only have 2.5 to 5 billion assets under management, which is quite frankly peanuts. I mean, the biggest wealth manager in the Netherlands has more than the 100 robo-advisors together. So something in the model isn't working yet. Why? We believe that the cost of acquisition for a B2C robo-advisor is just too big. Accenture documented this, McKinsey documented this. So we think, well, if you want to activate savings account money into investments, you need to have a solid value proposition, something that is appealing to Laura. And I think Laura wants to sleep at night and be happy in what she's investing, and she wants to be sure that she's not losing money. This is key, quintessential for Laura. So how do we need to do this? How do we need to disrupt the market, and how can you stay ahead? We think our value proposition is quite unique, because our robo-advisor starts by thinking, we want to give Laura stable growth. We call it monotonic growth. We want to give her the stability of a savings account with a little upside that is linked to an investment account. So we want to provide her a stable stream of revenue on our investments. And we do that in a 4-step approach. We have a truly customizable front end, which we created in atomic design. By the way, I didn't mention that we have a 16 FTE team. We have UX people, we have compliance people, we have back office people, we have asset managers in the team, quants in the team. So we truly care about UX in a white label fashion. We have a truly unique algorithm, and I'll come back to that later. We have a full open API infrastructure, and we have past experience with connecting to banking systems, PMS systems, core banking systems, legacy systems. We've done all of that. And of course, which is maybe not so sexy for the audience, we know all about MiFID II and how to be compliant with MiFID II. So this man is one of the most important men in private banking and robo-advisory. He's Harry Markovich. He invented a theory which is called Modern Portfolio Theory, or MPT. You will often read that. He was a very clever guy. He invented something in the 50s, but he didn't have huge computing capabilities at the time. And he uses what we call volatility in the market. So to keep a story short, a long story short, volatility is a risk indicator, and it measures the risk exposure you have. So let me say that I give you a portfolio, and that it does 3 years in a row minus 20%. Minus 20 to minus 20. With MPT and volatility, I would come up to you and say, this is great news, right? And you would be laughing in my face. Laura would probably want to kill me. But they say, why? From a volatility perspective, the risk is zero. Volatility is stable. So you immediately feel that volatility isn't perfect. It's far from perfect, actually. It doesn't measure negative and positive returns. You cannot distinguish between both. So academics agree that value at risk does a better job. CVAR does an even better job. It tells you something about the potential loss in the tail. Then we go beyond that. We try to calculate how much time it needs to recover from a loss. We're all about limiting the risk. So we work on CVAR, but we add a little something which is a time dimension, and we call that IVAR, Invest with VAR. So this is where we make the difference. So we're 7 months old. We raised 2 million euros, and for a Belgian startup, that's quite a lot. We have a European footprint. We're in many fintech hubs, the best hub being Accelerator Frankfurt, and Maria and Ram, thank you so much for accepting us in the program. You've enabled what we wanted. We wanted a German footprint, a German network, which we didn't have, and you enabled that. We have a first customer, which is a Dutch wealth manager. They signed with us 3 weeks ago, and we would love to have more. So our plan is now to sign up 2 more banks and then to go for an A round of 5 to 7 million. So if you want to know how to serve Laura, how to create new revenue, please talk to me or Yuri after our pitch. We'd be happy to talk to you guys. Thank you.
So compared to the other robo advisors, what's your secret sauce in the algorithm? Is that this IVAR thing, or?
The IVAR is one of the things. Another thing about the algorithm, there are three things about it. It's the IVAR, the way we look at risk. And we take risk as an absolute. If you lose €1 on your investment, we call that a €1 loss. We don't compare it to a benchmark and try to beat the benchmark. We look at loss in an absolute term. Most don't do that. Second of all, we have a mathematical framework beneath the algorithm that allows the bank to incorporate her macroeconomic views on the economy into the algorithm. So every bank will be able to configure it a little differently. Bank X believes, for instance, that long-term interest rates are going up. The other one thinks it goes down. You can implement that into the algorithm. And the last thing, and I think that's the most spectacular thing, is that our algorithm will screen real-time 4,000 up to 5,000 instruments and will choose for each and every one of you, based on your personal preferences, an individualized portfolio. Not a one-shoe-fits-all. Not what most robos do, sell you one of 7 model portfolios and have a digital journey into one of 7 buckets. So then Laura would end up having the same portfolio as her neighbor, which is exactly what Laura doesn't want. So that's where we try to make the difference.
My question, is there any sort of minimum investable asset amount that makes it worthwhile to put the money into
So
investment?
that's also something we build into the algorithm, and it's a very good question actually. The problem is cost, right? I mean, if you would enter into a robo algorithm with €1,000, sure we can advise you to buy 7 or 6 products, but the cost will outweigh the benefits of having those 7 lines because the broker will be too expensive and the settlement of those transactions. So currently we stand at, we think a minimum investment of 10,000 to 15,000 euros is reasonable because for that money we can offer you a spread with 3 or 4 or 5 lines, which the algorithm does. But if a B2B client of us is capable of reducing those costs, then I think the entry fee can drop. But from a cost perspective, I cannot lie. If I ask you to buy 3 products of 200 euros, the cost will outweigh the benefits.
Do you have to meet any regulatory aspects, or are you geographically oriented?
So we have people who work on MiFID II, which is very important in Europe, and the Dutch regulator, Autoriteit Financiële Markten, they wrote a paper for ESMA on how to perceive robo-advisory and how to go forward. So we've incorporated all of those knowledge into our algorithm, into our front end, and we have a very strong vision, and I think we're extremely compliant. We even have a former compliance officer who is now our product manager, Yuri, sitting here, but that will always be a challenge, for sure.
Thank you. All right, now that we've heard from all current round 5 participants, we'll hear from 2 alumni of previous waves of Accelerator Frankfurt and catch up on what they've been up to since their Accelerator Frankfurt experience equipped them for their journey. Okay, so we've got 2 of them. He not only likes to do triathlons, he actually finds them relaxing. That's a quote, all right? He's a big believer in investing in people and finds it the best way to overcome big unexpected challenges. From Israel, here's Asaf of BI.
Hello everybody, great to be back in Frankfurt. I've been here for approximately 2 years, but first wave of the Accelerator, and thank you for inviting me. So, what we're doing, what have we been doing from the time that we left the Accelerator? So we've created future credit modeling for banks, for lenders, and we've been in business and we've sold about $1 million in revenue since we left here. But we find some obstacle in the market. If you're a startup, you need to listen to your customers, and I'm going to tell you about the change that we've made and what explosion it created to us in the last 6 months after a year and a half of creating this change. So the business problem is banks have hard time
do credit scoring for their consumers, sometimes SME, because they're not utilizing their best asset, which is data. They have tons of data, and they're not able to do it in machine learning because of compliance, regulatory governance, all those hurdles, and a lot of obstacles from within. What we're trying to let them is overcome the silo way that credit scoring is being done today, which is doing it in modeling department, then validating, then switching it to IT, then doing it in all different places in the bank, and having it streamlined across the bank. And I'm talking about the entire process from the data sits within the bank or with all the different credit bureaus or different partners of the bank, to the actual probability of default score, the decision making, and the actual loans that we're gathering. All of this is a problem worth about $300 billion a year globally. And we see global banks address this issue again and again. And we think that we've been able to introduce a solution that in the last 6 months enabled 6 very big international banks to come to a POC with us, and one of them already after and in commercial discussion towards a potential agreement. So we want to create the IRIS platform, which is designed specifically for financial institutions, and it improves the business entirety profitability by about 15%. 15 to 30% depends on the geography and the specific bank, and how we do it. The data acquisition is only the first journey, or the part of the journey that you need in order to create a robust model. If you know a bit about modeling, you heard about SaaS, software as a service, or SaaS, the company, which is the market leader in statistics of banks. 70–80% of the banks use it. It's old school, and nobody takes care of the data transformation, the feature generation, the machine learning model in a complete form. Once you've done that, you're able to introduce model explainability. This is what prevents banks today from incorporating machine learning based credit score models into their production environments, like all Google's, .coms, and other P2P lenders do. And then deploy it to production and monitor it over time. This is what makes our product unique in the market, and this is what makes the biggest player in the world in credit scoring, like Equifax, Finastra, and different banks such as BNP Paribas and Barclays attract this kind of solution. So we see the market evolve from logistic models to much more advanced startups and platforms for machine learning in the market. But there are silos of startups that do it online. There are silos of the old companies that are doing it but are having big big problems in innovating inside because they have their customer base which they need to attend to. And there are generic forms, generic tools that are not specifically made for the credit scoring and modeling solution. This is what we solve. And here I come to present to you a case study from a bank that we work with, and that gave us a very tough challenge. Improve my models by over 10%. Have them very explainable. Machine learning without explainability is nothing. It's like a black box, which nobody can use. So open the black box for it, make it stable over time, and show us the ROI. We've done that, we've trained the model, we've done the POC, and those are the results. The results are really mind-blowing in terms of banking, 19.4% reduction in default, while increasing the number of acceptance customers to the bank. Or, if you just want to go on growth, you can go on 15.1% net acceptance growth without increasing the default. This was done with unique algorithms that are incorporated into the solution and enable us to give the customers a fully transparent, open hood machine learning platform, giving them the ability to innovate on themselves. And this is what opened us for the market in the last 6 months. And this is the journey that we've done. It took us from big no-nos from German banks 3 years ago to a huge welcome in France, in the UK, and I hope here in Germany again, once we've done all those changes. So pivots are a big part, and experience is a great lesson. And
This is our team, very top-notch IBM veterans, Israeli army scientists, and a lot of banking and startup executives that has a lot of experience to help us navigate through the cold waters. Thank you.
This machine learning algorithm has to be adapted to each market and to each bank then with their data, or where is that data coming from?
Great question. First, we use it in every geography. We're currently deploying it in Australia, in UK, in France, and in a different another market that I cannot disclose, but it works regardless of the market. And in each bank, the platform enables the bank to build its own custom-made proprietary model. So the banks keeps their advantage using their own data to train the model for their own advantage.
Could you just explain then the business model if the bank is then creating its proprietary software on the back of yours?
So it's an enterprise software model, license agreement, plus upside for us if they're implementing it and taking models into production. By the models and by the count of number of records that they score each year, additional revenue for us. But the baseline is the license agreement.
Thank you, Asaf.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and last but not least of our presenters for this evening. So the roller coaster ride of entrepreneurship does not rattle this father of 5 children under 12, so you're not surprised he likes going on business trips, right? He's also an education tech entrepreneur. As you can tell, he has tons of spare time, and he believes that the difference between success and failure is the ability to just start doing and correct yourself as you go. Another Israeli, here's Drol from EasySend.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. Thank you, Dafka. So we're very excited to be here, and we are EasySend. I want to start with a little story. Ram was telling me yesterday, Ram sitting here was telling me yesterday about his own personal interaction with the local bank. We're not going to mention the name.
Commerce Bank.
No, but we're not going to mention the name. And the experience was the first customer experience trying to do an online application to start a bank account and issue a couple of credit cards. The experience was not very good because he had to download a few PDFs. He had to skim through them, browse them, fill in the data, tens of pages. Then he had to scan it and send it to the bank via email, wait a couple of weeks, and guess what? He got the credit card with the wrong name. So a bad process and bad customer experience, bad result.
The bank didn't accept scan.
They didn't accept the scan, there you go. Now, this is exactly why we established EasySend. Because with the power of our platform, what you can do is to take almost any business process that you have in your bank or insurance company and digitize it quite quickly. It will look beautifully with your design, your brand book. It would work on any channel. The experience will be cross-channel or omni-channel, as they call it sometimes, and it's going to work out of the box on any device. Now, it may all sound quite complicated, but we actually try to keep it simple. We strive to keep it simple. And when I say simple, I mean simple in 2 senses. One, for the end customer, because this is the person we care about, and the digital experience is going to be smooth and agile. Secondly, for your own organization, because today, you know, when we talk to bankers and we tell them about digital transformation, they start shaking. Why? It's going to take 5 years, $20 million, and maybe I'm going to be sacked, lose my job. So with us, it's going to be very simple. Actually, let me show you how it works. At the core of our system, at the core of our service, there is a builder, an editor, which is the brains of the system. It's very intuitive to work with it, so your teams can do the job and not us. Of course, we can also sell you training and professional services if you like. They will be able, with this very nice drag and drop intuitive interface, to build within a couple of hours or a couple of days the digital process and deploy to the different channels. It's going to be fully responsive. I have a colleague in the company that likes to say that anything programming, modern programming can give you, our platform will be able to provide in terms of functionality, very functionality rich. And it all ends with a data file, not an image, that goes to your backend systems, be it Salesforce, another CRM, or any other name. And it can trigger any downstream process that needs to be triggered. Of course, it's all cloud-based, but mind you, it's fully secured, fully encrypted, enterprise-grade. Now, you probably know the old saying of the real estate domain, meaning that they say, you know, that the three main value drivers are location, location, location. So with us, it's going to be speed, speed, and speed. And why is that? Because with EasySend, and that's already proven, within a week or two, again, guaranteed, you can have your digital process live and deployed after testing everything because of the builder that I mentioned. And that's quite revolutionary, we believe. Now, in terms of use cases, you may be asking yourselves which kind of use cases are available. So we're actually doing everything, very broad-based platform. We do different insurance use cases. You can see them here. We work with banks. We don't have a slide, but believe me that we work also with asset managers. And we know it's working beautifully. And why is that? Because we checked. We have 40 paying customers, and we surveyed them this year, you know, when the year ended. And we found out, based on their reports, that we helped them with the more efficient digital processes that we enable them to deploy to save up to 50% of their OPEX, related OPEX. We help them also bump up the top line revenue because we bump up the completion rate of digital processes. Everything is smooth and A to Z. And the customer experience, which is today the big differentiator of the financial markets, also goes up. Now a little bit of a perspective maybe. Last year, one of our founders, not myself, stood here and gave his own pitch. I think his was better. And we had then 5, 6 paying customers. Today we have 40. Back then we were a nice bootstrap, which is, you know, a big respect. But now we have a $5 million first round coming straight from the Google investors, Vertex. We have more than 20 million digital processes running every year on our platform, which is heavy duty. And every week, 20 new processes are being added, which we find a big vote of confidence. So this is what transpired with us since last year. We're very proud and very excited about it. And these days, we are actually working very hard, myself included, to make our first sales into the German market, or focus market in Europe. A big thanks goes to Ram and of course to Maria for having us in Wave 4. And they also helped us to reach, soon to be announced, our first deal in Germany. So thank you, Ram. Thank you, Maria. And for the audience, any digital pane, really any digital pane that you can think of, or that the manager upper floor or downstairs can think of, we're happy to discuss. We have here 2 of my colleagues. Raise your hands. Egbert, coming straight from Berlin and living in Frankfurt. And VP Product will join me now for the Q&A. Gal.
So that's a huge amount of sensitive data. Can you elaborate a little bit about security and GDPR?
Okay, I think VP Product would be very happy to answer.
Hi everyone. Our platform is a funnel of the information, the customer-facing information with your customers. We're not saving any data. It's filled through with the customer and then transacted into your systems. So that's how we avoid these complications. We're definitely GDPR compliant.
You said you're basically in Israel at the moment. You've got one customer coming up. What are the markets are you looking at? And what would your business plan tell us where you'd like to be at the end of next year?
Today we're in over than 90% of the Israeli financial sector, including banks, insurance, and wealth management. We already have our first customer very soon here in Germany and in Japan. And we're aiming for the European and US markets right now. We want to replicate the success that we have in Israel, in Germany, and in the US.
And the last question, how do you integrate in those state-of-the-art German banking systems?
So we don't touch the legacy. We come with a few integrations built in the platform. So if it's REST APIs or interactions with cyber safes or anything like that. And obviously we are now working to develop much deeper integrations with CRMs and cores, so it will come built in out of the box also with these solutions.
Thank you. Got
We
it
are
all. Yeah, so let's give a big round of applause for all 5 presenters. And for our three panelists, thank you for your questions. And to Maria and Steffen, thank you for that. And of course, everyone is super invited to continue these important conversations shortly. And if any of you or anyone you know is a likely candidate for Accelerator Frankfurt's Wave 6 launching this spring, check out our website and reach out to us. It's a meeting place for shared passion towards taking fintech to the next level. So before we enjoy some pampering refreshments, let's hear closing remarks from our host, founder of Accelerator Frankfurt, Shoham.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I hope you had a great evening. We have results. Our success rate is about 80%, which means out of 10 startups we work with, 8 of them get business, they get investments. We mean business. We work with you guys and hope to continue with work with you guys. I want to thank Jorn from Startuprad.io for live streaming this event. Invest with me also on YouTube, like it, share it, definitely. I want to thank our team, especially our community managers, Alex and Gino, over there. Alex, it's his last day with us today because he's moving to a startup. So hopefully we'll be able to help him down the road. He's a bit too early stage for us, but we will certainly monitor his progress. And last but not least, a great moderator. She's been here for 2 full days, working with the startups on their slides, on their pitches, shaping the message. Fantastic job, Daphna. Thank you very much. Go home to your kids. And see you soon again. Thank you very much. Enjoy the food, enjoy the drinks. Thanks.